Happy Tuesday. It you can certainly tell that things have shifted again. Every night now we're going to sleep in one frequency, if you will, and waking up in another, a little bit at a time every night now. And I woke up, I think it was just after 3 this morning, and I came out here and I was sitting out here probably about 3 hours. And the one thing I really noticed was the atmosphere was completely different. And I'm in the country anyway, so it's really noticeable for me when we shift. And there was a still, and there still is out here. There's a stillness that hasn't been present before. There's a peacefulness that hasn't, in a way, that hasn't been present before. The deer, I posted earlier a picture on Facebook of the deer in my yard. And usually when Snoopy comes out and starts barking at the deer, they'll run. And the deer didn't run. I came out to put more feed out for them, and deer pellets and deer corn. And normally they run from me. And the baby ones, there was 2 little baby ones, and the baby ones ran right up to me, to like 2 feet right in front of me, like they weren't even scared. And the whole atmosphere really is different. How y'all doing? Good morning, sweethearts. And you know, um, I've really stepped back. That trip to Montana and to Spokane really propelled me into a whole different um, time-space continuum, and I've really stepped back and I've just been really present with myself. And there's no doubt that the light has bolted into this planet, into this ship, into our consciousnesses. And if you really can step back and observe, you can see where even in the chaos and turbulence, it's not the emotions, the grieving. There's a lot of grieving going on right now. Grieving energy, waves of it coming in and out. And if you really notice, even that has a more underlying more harmonious feeling to it. And um, this is where you're really gonna see again where, many realities, if you will, and I use that word loosely, very loosely. Many realities for some are going to appear more chaotic, more emotional, more turbulent, while others of ours seems to be getting more harmonious, more peaceful, more joyful. You're getting your passion back. You feel like you're coming alive again in ways that you haven't felt before. And you're really going to see that as heavy as this week is going to be energy-wise, the denseness, if you will, there's a whole lot of forward movement now pushing us forward to September. And come September 1st, you're going to notice again another shift into a more peaceful, harmonious space, and a lot more tangible miracles. You're really going to notice more of the big ones. We've had to learn how to notice the subtle ones and the small ones, and you have to notice those before you can truly see bigger ones and more magic. And coming to September, you're really going to start seeing a lot of that materialize more so than it already has. There was just a shift in the tonal wave of energy. There it goes again. That's magical. That means we're shifting again. Yeehaw! There was just a major change in the harmonic tones of this planet just now. That's exciting. And you know, oh, look at the ship. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the Pleiadian ship right in there? There's a Pleiadian ship in there. And, you know, what's magical about this is going to bring a lot of deeper clarity of how the more you have let go of your emotional attachments to the stories, how you really truly have formed an emotional bond to yourself and to everything around you more than the human mind can recognize. Laura, was it you who just said you've been feeling energy all morning? A lot now a lot of integration that has taken place of this eclipse energies as we went through that Stargate. Because you know, there's a difference between a portal and a gateway and a Stargate. And we've gone through that Stargate. Stargate Ascension is complete. In other words, those that have chosen to ascend this cycle have now passed through that Stargate into the higher trajectory harmonic timelines. And so therefore this outside physical world that doesn't support that harmonic has to morph, has to crumble, has to change, has to transform. And so now that that's been integrated into the physical vessels, now this is in the energy that I think it was, oh, it was Lori, forgive me, beautiful. Um, you're feeling the energy coming that is fueling that light information that's fueling a new passion within you, which is going to propel you forward. Ooh, there we go again. Okay, now that was a color change in the energetics of the atmosphere just now. That is so magical. Now we got a tonal change and a color change. And now I got a transmission coming in. Interesting. And so now, because your spacesuit is a vessel, guys, your body is a computer, and that computer is who you've thought you were all this time until you started your journeys. And now, the more your soul settles into the vessel, and you allow that human incarnation of this lifetime, your human personality die, and your soul self comes alive. That's what you're feeling. The more you take command of your computer, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, the more magic, the more miracles, the more morphine instantly this is going to change to that which you are, that which you are embodying, that full connection to that Christ consciousness, that Christ Sophia template, that Omega planetary consciousness that you've been veiled from. And what's beautiful about it is that with this comes the total realization of contrast versus polarity duality. The total realization that as much as the human incarnate has had to ascend themselves in order to not to have the above and the below together and not be veiled from the unseen masters and angels and this, that, and the other. As much as you guys had to ascend, we had to descend. What you were veiled from was the other. What we were veiled from was the physical. So this is that dance. It's not that anybody's above, below, back, forth, higher, lower. It doesn't matter. We want the contrast of every single one of those dimensions in that wisdom so we have the whole living library side by side, hand in hand. And that is what is occurring, and that's the beauty of what is happening right now. Because that veil has been totally removed, and it was removed 5.5 years ago. Your soul ascended 5.5 years ago. It was just your human vessel's mind, the consciousness that had to catch up, and now that gap is collapsed between when your soul fragment fully ascended with the planet and to your human's vessel's consciousness now. And when I say that Stargate ascension is now sealed, that Stargate is sealed, it's complete. Those who are ascending this cycle have now fully ascended and are fully integrating that embodiment consciousness. Does that mean the others that aren't ascending? Everybody ascends to a new level of evolution. However, there's 7+ billion souls that have chosen not to ascend with the planetary consciousness in this cycle. They will continue out this human incarnation, and they will continue in the Ezekiel will of reincarnation, you know. And they will do it, they will reincarnate into this 3D like simulations, if you will, to carry out their soul's evolution. However, it will not contain the frequencies, the lowest frequencies of the good and evil grid that we as a humanity experience now. Where one goes, all goes, but they all don't go to the same place, same timeline, same place of frequency. And so the higher you evolve, for those that are fully embodying their Christ consciousness and have chosen this ascension cycle, you come into the understanding that now you're going to come more into that deeper truth, that deeper clarity, that you're in a space of forgiving your vessel, forgiving your, literally the computer aspect of your vessel as it surrenders fully to your consciousness. Because remember, again, you guys, we have all been taught, formed, molded that Linda, that personality, that is who we are. And that's not who we are. And so we're letting that personality go to be born totally again. Dawn, I'm still experiencing purging in a big way. Seems the universe is saying now is the time. The purging you're feeling, honey, is that personality again of the human incarnate. We have born a new race. That race is not black skin, pink skin, yellow skin, green skin. It has no labels of Asian, African American, Native American, white. It doesn't have those labels. And but Dawn and Linda and Lori and Tom and Dick and Harry, that was the human incarnation. The human incarnation that came to change the game, that changed the kind, that came incarnated, walked in, embodied, whatever word you want to use it, whatever aspect of the role we play for each other. We chose for this to be that lifetime to do that. And so now, because this incarnation, if you will, for those who incarnated, that human personality is part of the 3D matrix, if you will, of good and evil. That human personality has experienced trauma. That human personality has experienced pain and suffering. In other words, that human personality is not part of your highest trajectory timeline. However, when you surrender to your full soul and allow your soul to fully settle into your vessel, you develop a brand new personality of the highest integrity and responsibility, self-responsibility of who you are versus the human personality that you were born to as Tom, Dick, Harry, Linda, Lori, Vanessa, Veronica, Janice, whatever it may be. And so, Don, that is a lot of this purging that is going on. It's really just a lot of forgiving the vessel for being controlled, if you will, by a computer simulation than rather than your consciousness. This is truly all about forgiveness. Forgiveness of the stories, of the experiences, for putting yourself through that suffering, this, that, and the other. This is literally comforting your mind, because the mind is the wounds, the mind is the memories, the mind is what holds all that. And this is really just a matter of forgiving that aspect as it surrenders to the consciousness of who you are and what you are and all that you are. It's a matter of loving and comforting and nurturing your mind that it's okay, because it's only that aspect that holds the thinking feelings of emotions. Your heart only feels, it doesn't think. uh, it, it, your heart doesn't, I don't know how to word that really. The emotions that we've been trained to have, to be known as love and unconditional love, have been thinking feelings. They're emotional attachments. There's not emotional bonds of love, you know. And when you can really love these experiences, no matter how much they've shattered you. I don't know if you guys read my post this morning I made. But it's that shattering that brings your heart transparent, where your heart is weighed against a feather. And because, you know, once you shatter all the cemented walls of the wounds, you know, of your wounded experiences, when you choose, guys, when you choose to get out of the hamster wheel of victim, villain, and hero, because you can't be a victim without there being a villain. And you can't have a villain without there being a victim. And you certainly can't have a hero without a victim and a villain. So, because, you know, when you're the victim, the hero comes to rescue you, to defend your honor. And when you're the villain, the hero has to jump in to defend and ward off and fight the villain. In any way, your ego is being satisfied, and it's only you who can choose to get out of that cycle of that mind of the victim, villain, hero, or victim, villain, savior. Excuse me. And that's what's dying right now, that false masculine ego. That's the purging that's going on, is the thought consciousness in your mind has shifted. That's ascension, is your consciousness shifts. And now that it has shifted, you have to get used to it. And your mind right now is it's unknown to your mind that has been totally programmed. It's used to having signals and binary codes run it. It's not used to having an actual energy that's alive, commanded, that controls it, that dictates it, rather than binary codes and simulations and or energy and this, that, and the other. And the more you command, you take over control of your mind and the thoughts and the emotions and the energy that you focus on those thoughts and your emotions truly. You're taking command of how fast and how slow, how rapidly, how slow down you transform yourself into matching the highest frequency of your timeline, that harmonic frequency. And that's what's occurring right now. And the more you can allow the human incarnate that has experienced the pain and trauma and love that experience and zero point it, you come into being brand new. Because the crystalline race has no history. Just like you giving birth to a baby, that baby has absolutely no history until it comes out of your womb or into your family. And so you want to transfer that knowledge of those experiences to the living library of the earth, so it's available to all, rather than hold it all into yourself and stop yourself from leaping consciously into being that crystalline race that you've born yourself into, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but if you notice, it's changing. The atmosphere is changing. The mannerisms of people. Everything is changing. And with it, you can really see the underlying harmonious, peaceful, foundational energy that is bathing everything, even if it seems chaotic, emotional, turbulent, sorrowful. There's still a loving, harmonious, peaceful, underlying energy to it. And that makes it magical. It makes it much easier to see the miracle of love and happiness and joy and pleasure that's being born out of the shattering that humanity goes through to become the diamond. So have a magical day, guys. Know that truly this is a very powerful week of transformation as we go into the first week of September. September and October will be more graceful and preparing us for big changes coming at the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. So know everything is perfect, divine, all is well. It's just preparing us for that which is to come and is truly already here. Have a great day, guys. Big, big, big hugs and blessings. I love you. Bye-bye now.